I think besides Andor, Disney Plus Star Wars shows have been a little shaky. I mean, even The Mandalorian, how popular that show is, there's some moments where it's just like, I don't know. I don't know about it. But when I heard that Dave Filoni was going to be running a show based on the character that he created with George Lucas for the Clone Wars animated series, I was completely down for it. Completely down. So let's talk about the first two episodes of Ahsoka. Now, for those of you who might not know, Star Wars is something that I love Star Wars, and it's one of those things that from a very very young age, I've been in love with Star Wars. I love the world, I love the characters, I love the story. It's fantastic, and with material outside of the movies, the animated series. At first, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about the Clone Wars, but I quickly got into it. I've seen the entire series 3 times. I did a whole podcast with my good old buddy Bucho, where we went over every single episode, and that was a blast. That was a blast. And then Rebels, love Rebels. I think it's a great series. Even though I prefer the Clone Wars, I think the Rebels series has more moments of like, holy crap, like wow, I love that. There's a lot of really really good moments in Rebels. So yeah, I mean, I'm that guy. Now for you, that might not be the case. You might not have seen any of the animated series, never read any of the books, the comics, whatever. In a lot of ways, this show is almost a continuation of Rebels, right? It's a continuation of that storyline. So if you don't know what's going on and you want to know what's going on, maybe you want to watch this before you watch Ahsoka. There is a great video that Star Wars Explained did where it's basically sums up the entire Rebel series in like 10 minutes. And I think it's a great video. I think Star Wars Explained is a great channel. I think you ought to go over there and check it out. So it's in the description if you're interested in that. So of course I'm not going to go into any kind of spoilers or anything like that. I want people to enjoy the show, like enjoy it, watch it. But look, here's the thing. There's about, I would say, an hour worth of material in the hour and a half of series that I've watched so far. Now, I think the casting is fantastic. I mean, of course, Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, she's pretty great. In fact, one of the things that I really like is some of her lightsaber moves. They're clearly from the animated series. It was just a really cool little moments there that I really appreciated. I really appreciated those little touches. But she's great. She's really, I really have no problem seeing her as Ahsoka. I just don't. I think she's great. You've got Natasha Liu Bordizzo as Sabine. I think she's great. Now, my wife didn't like her. She was like, yeah, it seems like she's just trying too hard. I liked everything that she did in these first 2 episodes. I thought she was really good, and I thought Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera is great casting. Another one where it was just like I immediately just, oh, that's Hera. That's just the way it is. I didn't have this disconnect that I sometimes have with some of these characters that have made the jump from an animated series to live action or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like I immediately connected with them. Ray Stevenson, I mean, wow, this guy, he has so much charisma. You just can't take your eyes off of him. He's just got it. It makes you really interested in his character, and he's been that way all of his career, and it's just a shame that he passed away. But yeah, it's, man, I'm really interested to see where his character is going to go. Ivana Sakno plays his apprentice, and she's great too. I mean, she doesn't have a whole lot to really emote right now. She's really just muscle, at least in these first 2 episodes. But it's going to be interesting, and I enjoy her abilities. She seems like she knows how to use a lightsaber, which is it's a good thing. So I'm really interested to see where this is all going. But again, the problem here is that the pacing is it's really slow. It's almost like intentionally slow, and I'm not sure why. I just don't know. I don't get why they're doing it. I don't understand it. And this is coming from a guy who's extremely patient. Like, I'll watch 4-hour movies, no problem. But this feels like about an hour's worth of content that's stretched out into an hour and a half. 2 episodes, about an hour and a half, right? That's what it feels like to me. And I'm not sure why. like I don't know if it's a if they're intentionally doing that to slow things down at the beginning so that because the next few episodes are going to be like, oh my god, I don't know. I don't know. Next week's episode is only 30 minutes. So it's one of those weird things where I'm like, okay, what are we getting? Are we getting 30 minutes of this pace, or is it going to be more aggressively paced in the next episodes? I don't know. The music is fantastic. Kevin Kiner did the score, and Kevin Kiner did the score for Clone Wars and Rebels. So yeah, it's a really nice transition, but it sounds meaty, it sounds important, it sounds weighty, and it sounds really, really nice. So I'm really pleased to say that I was not taken out of the experience at all by the score. The score kept me locked in, and it's really gorgeous. So kudos on that. I will also say that there are some of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows that have, I mean, some of the Mandalorian at times, Obi-Wan for sure, Book of Boba Fett for sure. There's been this almost budget look to it. Like it looks, you can tell it's been shot on a stage. It just, there's just the way that it looks, the depth and all that. It looks fantastic. There was, I can't think of a scene where I thought, oh yeah, that's just shot on the volume. It really feels big, and it feels wide open, which is nice. So I just hope that I guess is kept up throughout the season, because I'm really enjoying the way that it looks, the way that everything feels, the music, all that stuff is great. But I'll tell you, I mean, from a standpoint, I'm trying to look at this from someone who's never watched the animated series. Just like the first Star Wars movie kind of starts off, and they're talking about the Clone Wars, and they're talking about the Imperial Senate and all this stuff that you don't know anything about. You know that there's a war being fought. Those are the good guys and the bad guys, but you don't know any of the depth that they keep referencing, right? Which is kind of intriguing. Here, it's the same thing, except it's so leisurely paced that I found myself kind of losing interest as someone who's a fan. That I kept feeling myself like, okay, let's move on with it. So here's the thing. I don't know if people are going to have the patience to stick with this show. And that's part of the problem. Like, you want to start with kind of a bang, right? I mean, sure, you're going to have some character moments and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of these people have never seen Sabine before. So why is the pacing like this? I just don't understand it. I think if you're a fan of Rebels, you're a fan of Clone Wars, I think you're gonna dig this. You might find it a little slow. You might say, oh well, that's just intentional. No, it feels slow. And this is coming from somebody who has a lot of patience. And I just don't know if the average Star Wars fan is going to have the patience to stick through it. I mean, many people have said that those first few episodes of Andor felt the same way. So who knows? Maybe it will start to speed up a little bit. I don't know. I hope so. I just hope that it's good. Star Wars kind of needs a hit. Other than Andor, it needs something. So I'm hoping that this is it. So Ahsoka, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Let's talk about it down below. Of course, I'm going to be doing these every week. I have to. I have to. It's Star Wars. I have to talk about it. But yeah, I'm really curious to hear what everybody thinks. So let's talk about it in the comment section below. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.